Okay, let's talk about it. That thing that we all struggle with, procrastination. In this explainer, we're going to build a really practical toolkit to finally get a handle on it, using a mix of actual science and some seriously good real-world advice.
I mean, seriously, who hasn't been there? You've got your list, you know what you need to do, you might even want to do it, but you just can't. It's like you're completely stuck, just watching the hours slip by while your motivation has apparently clocked out for the day.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that feeling when you try to just power through on a day when you're running on fumes. Not only does it not work, it actually makes things worse. You end up making mistakes, feeling frustrated, and basically just digging yourself into an even deeper hole. So let's get one thing straight right now. This isn't about you being lazy. It's not a character flaw. It's a strategy problem. You're trying to use the same tool for every single job, and it's just not working. So together, right now, we're going to build you a better, more complete toolkit. So to build that toolkit, we've got to understand the blueprints, right? We need to know what we're working with. And a 2024 study on this very topic points to two huge concepts that are, well, pretty much the foundation for everything we're about to talk about. First up, we've got self-efficacy. Now, that sounds academic, but all it really means is your belief that you can actually do the thing. It's not about whether you have the skills, it's about whether you believe you can use those skills to get the job done. It's that little voice inside that says, yeah, I can handle this. And its partner in crime is self-regulation. This is your ability to actually stay on track. This is what helps you fight off distractions. You know, your phone, the fridge, that sudden urge to organize your sock drawer, and just stick with the plan, even when it gets tough or boring. It's the doing part of the whole deal. And this is a perfect way to think about it. Imagine you're driving a car. Your self-efficacy, that's your engine. It's the belief that you actually have the power to get where you're going. But your self-regulation, that's your steering wheel. That's what lets you navigate all the twists and turns. You can have a great engine, but without a steering wheel, you're going nowhere. And you can steer all you want, but without an engine, you're just sitting still. You need both. All right, so with those two concepts in mind, let's start filling up our toolkit. First, we're going to talk about the power tools. These are the heavy-duty strategies you use on days when you're feeling good, when the engine is running strong and you've got a firm grip on the steering wheel.
A total classic power tool that came up in the research is this one, the Eat That Frog method. The idea is so simple but so effective. You find the biggest, ugliest, most annoying task on your list, your frog, and you do it first thing. Just get it over with. Once that's done, everything else for the rest of the day feels easy by comparison.
Something else the study found was that a ton of students rely on visual tools, and this makes so much sense. Whether it's a digital board like Trello, a bunch of Post-it notes on your monitor, or just a simple checklist, getting that to-do list out of your head and into the real world makes it feel so much more manageable. It's a great way to regulate your focus. But here's where it gets really interesting. The study found that for every one strategy students used to build up their belief, their self-efficacy, they used 4 strategies focused on just doing the work, their self-regulation. We are obsessed with the how, but what happens when the problem isn't the steering wheel? What happens when the engine just won't start? And that question brings us to the other incredibly important half of our toolkit. We can call these the hand tools. These are the strategies for the bad days, the burnout days, the days when those big power tools feel way too heavy to even lift. The number one most important hand tool is just a simple mindset shift. It's about adjusting your goals to match your energy level. So on a good day, yeah, the goal is to clean the entire kitchen. But on a low energy day, a massive victory is just washing 5 dishes. It's not about giving up. It's about meeting yourself where you are. And that mindset leads to this brilliant idea, inspired by some advice from a Reddit user. It's called a 0-day task list. For those days you feel like you can do absolutely nothing, a 0, this is your list. Look at these items. They're tiny, they're achievable, they're designed to do just one thing, create the tiniest spark of momentum, and remind you that you are still capable. And this right here, this is the voice of self-compassion that so many of us need to hear. This is how you start rebuilding your self-efficacy. You acknowledge that on a really tough day, just getting dressed is a huge accomplishment. You have to give yourself credit for that, because that's what starts to recharge your belief in yourself.
Okay, here's another fantastic hand tool, the 5-minute rule. We all know the hardest part of any task is just getting started, right? So this rule makes starting almost ridiculously easy. You pick a task, set a timer for 5 minutes, and you only have to work on it for that long. And here's the magic. A lot of the time, once you've started, you'll just keep going. But if you don't, who cares? You still did 5 minutes, which is infinitely more than zero.
So, how do we pull this all together? The point is not to try and force yourself to use power tools every single day. That is a one-way ticket to Burnout City. The real goal is to build a system that's flexible, a system that works with you, not against you. And this is really the whole secret right here. Truly effective long-term productivity isn't about some perfect, rigid system. It's about having a well-stocked toolkit and developing the wisdom to know which tool to pull out based on how you're actually feeling. It's about having those high-energy strategies and those low-energy, compassionate ones, and giving yourself permission to use whichever one you need, no judgment.
So, I want to leave you with this question. Just think about it for a second. Looking at your own life, your own patterns of energy and procrastination, what's the one tool we talked about today, whether it's a big power tool or a small hand tool, that you think your toolkit is missing? What's the one thing you could add right now?